No more sorrow, no more strain. So how's your cotton, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how we know? I have to turn down the old music there now, you see, because the old copyright and all the rest of that old crack, you get me? So we'll just try and sort that out there now before the whole thing goes. So the crack is, ladies and gentlemen, and you're just going up there now as far as Cracklow Woods, that's right, Cracklow Woods, the land of skull and bones. So I'm heading up to Cracklow Woods now for an old spin to get out of town. I like to get up into the old forest now and then to clear the head, you know. Now mine wasn't the clearest lately. A lot of crazy shit going on in the world, and of course I take notice of a lot of stuff, and sometimes it can do your head in. So as everyone knows who watch my channel, I do fishing and I do hunting and I do everything. And I also love walking, hiking up around the old forests and all that. So that's what I'm off to do. Up to Cracklow Woods, the land of skull and bones. And this is where the English used to hang the Irish back in the day. In Cracklow Woods. And a sparrowhawk up there, lads. I can't turn up the camera, he's just hovering above there, a sparrowhawk. But Gallows Hill is up here. If I get a chance, I'll bring you over and I'll show you Gallows Hill. The last place many an Irishman seen before he was hung. And of course, Cracklow is supposed to be haunted, like, you know. Like, I could tell you a few stories about Cracklow myself, because I've come up and down here since I'm a child. So, I mean, one time we were all up here camping years ago and lights appeared in the forest up here. I'll bring you up around the forest. It used to be a big circle up here. We used to call it Fairyland, because no trees grew in this circle. The circle's about 50-metre circle, and nothing grew underneath clovers and shamrocks. There was no trees there now. This is where they plant a lot of trees up here, so this was right in the middle of the forest, so it wasn't deliberately done. It's just that trees never grew there for some strange reason. I don't know why. How we doing, ladies? I don't know why they never grew there, but they didn't. But there's another trail there, so I often goes up as well, up around the forest, but I'm going up to the one up here now at the minute. But anyway, no trees grew up there. And we used to wonder why trees never grew there, because like there's forestry all around you. And it's not as someone said, oh, I'm going to leave a 50-metre circle here without any trees on it. You know what I mean? Trees are all over the place. You just had this circle, and when we were children, we used to wonder. Even then, like, we were children thinking, how come is that like that? There's no road in here. There's no road out. It's in the middle of the forest. How come there's no trees going in an exact circle? Now, here in Ireland, we believe in fairy forts and all that, and I can show you some even up here to the right of this, me here, there's a field off there, the farmer has his field cut, and there's 2 circles in the field that he won't cut, because obviously they were stone circles, fairy forts we call them, and it's bad luck to go through them. So, we'd often wonder, like, thinking, man, like, must have been a fairy fort there, or what, we don't know really, like, but that's how we could put it down to. Well, years later, the boys came up here camping, and I'm not going to give their names, but some of them were my cousins and some of my best friends. And what happened was, they were in camping, and a few of the lads were supposed to follow him up. It was an autumn evening, late summer, autumn time, so I can't see a damn thing. So a few of them were supposed to follow him up to the forest, so the boys went up ahead, and they set up tent. So about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, when the sun was starting to drop behind the hills, the shadows were coming in. Still no sign of the other lads coming on, so the boys started thinking they must be coming up at all. But about 10 o'clock then, they were listening to an old radio they had in the old tent, and this is according to the lads now, like, and the fellow who told me this, like, he's not a liar, he has no reason to tell me this man didn't believe in no shit at all. He's just telling me this is what happened. He's my first cousin. I don't want to mention his name, but he don't talk no shit, right? And you wouldn't want to give him shit either. So, he said the stereo was all staticky and all noisy, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And they said next day anyway, so they paid no heed, they just thought the radio was picking up no signal up here. And because next off in the distance they could see lights coming through the trees. And they were saying, that must be the boys, look, coming on there with lamps and stuff. But they said they had a little dog, little terrier with them, the little Jack Russell is obvious the boys have no Jack Russell to run around them. The Jack Russell flew into the tent and he wouldn't come out. And the boys was wondering, what's wrong with the bagel running into the tent, what's up with him? So the boys started thinking, there might be more to this. So they were watching the lights and they started noticing the lights are moving very strange. They were going up and they were kind of going down and they were coming, they weren't meandering around the trees at all, they were kind of coming through the trees. So the lads told me they got right scared too at this stage, you know. They were all about 15, 16 at the time, and I mean they were bold as brass, these boys. And they got right scared too. So they ran into the tent out of it anyway. And they used to have scaffolders on their necks, we always know in the Catholics we have scaffolders around their neck and the holy crosses, so they got two sticks together and they made a cross and they wrapped the scaffolders around it to hold the cross together. And they said the lights were right outside the tent. Now at first they thought it was only the boys coming on, and they were saying, ah, come on boys, don't be messing. But then when the lights started rising into the air and up and down, now the lights weren't huge, the lights were only about football size lights. But they were rising up and down and doing all mad movement around the trees. So the boys got nervous and they ran into the tent. And they said, here comes the fucking strange part, right? While you're looking out there now, the Shannon Estuary out along there, lads, right? This is the golf balls we call it. An old big yoke for the airplanes, antenna signals coming out of the big golf ball over. But, so they went into the tent anyway and they zipped up the tent. So the fucking strange part of the whole thing is, about an hour and a half later, the boys turned up about 10:30. And they come over around the tent and started messing. Ooh, all this crack. And the boys bounced out of the tent when they knew it was them and fucking literally had murders. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? And they said, boys, what's wrong with you? We're having the crack. And they says, what do you mean? We eat here an hour ago. And the boy says, no, we weren't here an hour and a half ago. What were we going to do? Hang around the forest for an hour and a half, scratching it, is it? No, we weren't here. They said, we came up looking for you, but we couldn't find your tent. And the boy says, well, the tent is, we were here all the time, in the tent here. And they said, well, we walked over around here and there was no tent here. We couldn't find you. We searched everywhere. So the other boys were saying to them, then go away now, not be talking shite. And they said, we're not telling you, you weren't, we couldn't find you. We couldn't find you, we couldn't find your tent. We were looking all over the place for you. We were up here for the last 2 hours looking for you. So they were panicking all that night, worried the whole night through. And they stayed in the forest up here. As I said, this is it, I'm in the middle of the forest now. And this was back in the mid-80s. So they stayed up here, and the next morning they just couldn't wait for the sun to come up, and they packed up the tent and away with them down out of Crackle Woods. And when they used to go camping up here, we used to go up here all the time. Up and down here walking, and just like I'm doing now, in around the forest and camping, and never went camping again after that anyway, lads. Never went camping again. So that's the story there for now, and that's true, like, that's what the boys relayed to me, you know what I mean? And as I say, these boys don't mess around, and my cousin that told me this, he doesn't talk no shit and he's not looking for notice. So that's what happened to him. I spotted no pheasant around up here. You usually see no pheasant or two around here, you know. Comes up here now in the winter when it's freezing, come up the back road this way and come up, park the car up here, and then the road slopes down. There's a big drop, big slope down, and we go down there skating up and down on buckets. So I'm going off here now into the thick forest is where I'm going. Because this is where it all went on now back in the days. The story that I'm just telling you, and how it happened over here where I'm going now. So stay with me, lads, stay with me. There we go now, lads. Gallows Hill, Cracklow. Infamous site of hanging in the 17th to the 19th century. Erected in 2017. There you go. That's Gallows Hill then up there. So I'll bring you up there for a look. Boggy coming up here now. This is it now, lads. This is Gallows Hill. Forest I'm talking about now is off over there. That's where it all went down with us. It's a big enough full forest. Not huge now, but it was 30, 40, 50 acres of it. There's Gallows Hill here now. 6 Mile Bridge, that little town out there. 6 Mile Bridge. There's a Shannon Estuary off along out there. So this would have been the last place any Irishman would have seen before he was hung. Up here, right on this spot where I'm standing now. Gallows Hill. I think there was a tree they used to hang him off of. I suppose, and if they didn't use the tree, they just used the gallows. And God knows where they buried their bodies. I mean, back in the 17th century, I don't think they gave the Irish much mass. I mean, during the times of the invasion and the famine came on 100 years later. The so-called famine, there was never really a famine, they just starved us out of it with genocide. So it's supposed to be haunted anyway. So I mean, like the story I told you about the lights and all. This is haunted. Cracklow was the land of Skull and Bones, and there used to be a yellow house now. I'm not sure whereabouts because I can't remember. I was young fella. There used to be a yellow house up here, and the lights used to come on in it, even though there was no electricity going into it. It was eventually torn down by the council. They eventually tore it down because people were on about it being haunted. And of course, they don't want you to believe in anything like ghosts or. They don't want you to believe in anything like the spirit world, for you might say, hold on, if there's a spirit world, there could be a God and there could be a hell, so I better be, you know, do the right thing around the place. But no, so they tear that all down so you don't think about any spiritual world at all. But there was a yellow bungalow around here, I remember as a young fella, and the lights used to come on it every now and then, even though there was no electric going to for years. It was up in the hills. They tore it down, they got rid of that. Because I said, if they know, if you think, oh, there's a spirit world and there is such thing as spirits, well, that means there might be a God. And if there's a God, then maybe I shouldn't live for me, and be a greedy prick all my life and believe the fake media and the fake news and carry on like satanic minions, singing satanic songs and watching satanic movies. So, you know, that's why they don't want you thinking about God. But all the people at the top, a lot of them worship the dark side. So they're worshipping the dark side, so you can either walk in the dark or you can walk in the light. So on we go, lads, on we go! Majestic there out there, lads, a majestic there. Right, see that there, lads, look, we're in the middle of the forest, look, that's a camera. See, tucked away in there? Now what they're looking at or sussing out is beyond me. As I mean, there's nothing in here to be looking at. But that's the camera up there, looking that way. Right, so I'm gone in about a mile and a mile and a half into the forest, lads. Give you a little look around. I'm on a trail now as well, so the whole road.